Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a truly fascinating corner of history, proving once again that behind every, towering legend, there's often not just one, but maybe a whole constellation of hidden stories, unsung heroes, and surprising twists that can really reshape everything we thought we knew.
Indeed. Our mission today is to sort of pull back the curtain on the profound impact of two pivotal figures on one of the most iconic and, let's be honest, passionately debated dog breeds in American history. The American Pit Bull Terrier, or APBT.
Right.
We're talking about a legendary dog named Dibo, whose bloodline, astonishingly, flows through the veins of nearly every modern APBT you'll encounter today. It's kind of incredible when you think about it.
It really is. And just as importantly, we're going to shine a long overdue spotlight on the remarkable yet largely forgotten human architect behind much of that enduring influence. A man named S.W. Hubbard, known to his friends simply as Whiz. This isn't just about tracing pedigree charts, It's about delving into the intricate dance of people, their passions, their strategic foresight, and maybe just sheer serendipity that shapes a lasting legacy in the dog world.
Our insights for this deep dive are drawn from a truly rich source material, specifically powerful excerpts from Dibo's Legacy, Hubbard's Influence on Pit Dogs, by Richard F. Stratton.
Okay.
What's particularly fascinating here is that it's not merely a dry collection of historical facts. It's a deeply personal account, brimming with vivid anecdotes, direct observations, and the kind of intimate details that truly bring this history to life. It feels less like a textbook, more like a conversation with someone who was actually there.
Absolutely. This deep dive has been custom-tailored precisely for you, the learner. Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast of APBT history, eager to uncover overlooked details and deeper connections, or simply someone, insatiably curious about the surprising ways significant lineages are shaped in any field, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
We're here to cut through the information overload, to give you the most important nuggets of knowledge, complete with those genuine aha moments, and deliver it all with just enough personality to keep you hooked from start to finish.
Together, we're going to thoroughly unpack the story of Dibo's unmatched, almost mythical influence. We'll expose the true, often misremembered details of his unexpected origins, and finally shine that much-deserved spotlight on S.W. Hubbard, the man called Whiz.
Whiz, yeah.
Who quietly, yet profoundly, shaped what was then known as the dog game in ways that very few remember or acknowledge today.
And for all lovers of APBT history, for those who are eager to delve even deeper into the rich tapestry of this incredible breed, we strongly encourage you to visit apbtinfo.com.
Definitely a great resource.
It's an invaluable resource, packed with more facts, comprehensive pedigrees, and additional insights into the history and characteristics of the American Pit Bull Terrier. We'll remind you about it again at the very end of our deep dive. So with that, let's begin our journey into the past.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's unpack this fascinating history, beginning with the legend himself, Dibo. When we talk about influential American Pit Bull Terriers, or as they were often simply called in that era, bulldogs, Dibo truly stands apart. He's arguably the most impactful pit dog of his time, marking an absolutely significant turning point in what was known as the pit dog game.
Right.
Now, for those unfamiliar, the pit dog game in this historical context refers to the dedicated community and, structured activities surrounding American Pit Bull Terriers, including their specialized breeding, rigorous training, and often organized competitive matches. It was a world unto itself, really.
And what made Dibo such a profound turning point wasn't just his own prowess, While he certainly had a formidable reputation as an individual, his true enduring legacy and what made him utterly unique was his unparalleled ability to produce truly exceptional offspring.
That's the key, isn't it? The producing ability.
Exactly. Think about it. We often see individual athletes who achieve greatness, but a truly great producing animal, one that consistently passes on its best, most desired traits generation after generation, that's an entirely different phenomenon. This rare ability to consistently stamp his offspring with his formidable qualities is what cemented his place in history.
Oh, yeah. And when our source material describes these offspring as bone-crushing destroyers, wow, that phrase alone isn't just hyperbole. It conveys the raw power, the sheer impact, and the dominant genetic influence of his lineage.
Yeah, it's potent language.
You can almost feel the ground shake when you imagine the reputation of his progeny. This wasn't just about one dog. It was about a dog that fundamentally reshaped an entire breed's trajectory, infusing it with traits that became highly sought after.
Yes, and it's critical to place this in its proper historical context. Dibo was active in the mid-1950s, a period that was foundational for the modern American Pit Bull Terrier breed.
Right, the mid-century mark.
Understanding Dibo's impact during this time is essential for anyone tracing the historical development of the breed. If you delve into the pedigrees of many of today's champion APBTs, you are almost guaranteed to find Dibo somewhere back in their ancestry. His genetic footprint is simply that widespread.
Which is amazing. But what's truly fascinating here is that even for a dog of such immense influence, a legend whose genetic legacy is so pervasive, there's a surprising lack of absolute clarity surrounding some fundamental aspects of his life. For instance, there's still an ongoing dispute about the exact number of matches Dibo actually had, whether it was 1 or 2. It vividly illustrates how quickly precise details can blur into myth, even for a figure who profoundly impacts an entire community.
Absolutely. And speaking of subtle yet profoundly significant details, it's worth highlighting the pronunciation of his name. Our sources explicitly state that his name was pronounced D-I-E-Bo, not the more commonly heard Dibo today.
D-B-U. Huh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. This might seem like a small linguistic point, a mere phonetic nuance, but it really underscores how easily even fundamental, everyday details can shift, morph, and eventually be forgotten over time.
That's a great point.
This minor historical inaccuracy acts as a potent hint at the deeper, more significant historical oversights and misremembered narratives we're about to uncover regarding Dibo's true origins and the pivotal figures behind him.
It truly makes you ponder what other vital information, what other hidden stories have been lost or distorted in translation over the decades simply through the passage of time or, selective memory.
Exactly.
Now, it's important to clarify that Dibo wasn't the first destroyer-type dog in the pit dog game. Such powerful animals certainly existed before him. But, and this is the crucial distinction, none of them, absolutely none, produced such an incredibly consistent stream of high-caliber offspring as Dibo did.
That's the crux of it.
He wasn't just a great dog in his own right. He was a genetic powerhouse, a true patriarch who consistently passed on his exceptional traits.
If we connect this to the broader picture of canine genetics, Dibo's monumental success as a producer presents a fascinating paradox. When analyzing his documented pedigree, it was, quite frankly, difficult to predict his eventual monumental success as a producer.
Really? You'd think it would be obvious.
You might logically expect a dog of such widespread influence, a true genetic cornerstone, to emerge from a lineage composed solely of an unbroken line of champions and genetic perfection.
Yeah, exactly. That's the ideal, isn't it? But that's precisely not what the source material tells us. It reveals the presence of not-so-good dogs within his lineage right there alongside the truly exceptional ones.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag.
This unexpected mix only deepens the mystery of his genetic lottery win. It wasn't a clear-cut case of carefully orchestrated line breeding or a perfectly predictable genetic outcome. It was clearly something else entirely, a confluence of genes that defied easy explanation.
And perhaps the most critical detail here, a point that has historically been a topic of much spirited discussion and debate among knowledgeable dogmen, is the background of Dibo's mother, a bitch named Bambi.
Bambi. Okay.
She is described in the source as a cold bitch. Now, for clarity, a cold dog in this context refers to an animal that, despite physical prowess, lacks gameness.
Right, that core tenacity.
That deeply ingrained, tenacious fight and spirit, the sheer unwillingness to quit that was so highly valued and sought after in the breed at the time. Bambi apparently possessed none of this, to the extent that she probably wouldn't be bred today by knowledgeable dogmen, given her perceived deficiency.
Wow. So this raises a truly important question, one that delves into the very heart of genetic unpredictability. How precisely did the genes fall just right to create such an extraordinary producer like Dibo from a lineage that included a cold bitch and other not-so-good dogs?
It's a million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. This leads us to consider the captivating concept of genetic serendipity, or perhaps the hidden strengths, the unexpected combinations, and the dormant recessive genes that can emerge, seemingly out of nowhere, from a diverse gene pool.
Exactly. It's a powerful, humbling reminder that genetics are far from a predictable additive equation. Sometimes the greatest strengths are carried silently, only to be expressed under the right, unforeseen circumstances.
It truly is. And the undeniable proof, as they say, is in the pudding. Dibo's sons were nothing short of phenomenal.
Absolutely. The source names several who were quickly ranked as the best of all time, including legendary figures like Spike White Rock and Jeff.
Household names in that world.
Oh, yeah. And noting that there were lots of others too many to mention. Their individual prowess, their consistent victories, and their ability to produce top-tier offspring in turn unequivocally cemented Dibo's reputation as arguably the greatest producer the breed had ever seen.
So what does this all mean for the breed's foundational bloodlines today, for the American Pit Bull Terrier as we know it?
Well, the source definitively reinforces the idea that all of our dogs today have Dibo someplace back in their ancestry.
Every single one, virtually.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that pervasive.
This means that understanding Dibo isn't just a mere historical exercise, a quaint look back at the past. It's about understanding the very genetic bedrock, the foundational blueprint of the modern American Pit Bull Terrier.
Wow.
His influence is ubiquitous, a silent, powerful force shaping the characteristics and potential of the breed, even if his true story and the crucial figures behind it have remained somewhat murky for decades. It's abundantly clear why he continues to be considered such an utterly pivotal figure, whose legacy profoundly impacts APBT enthusiasts and breeders, even now.
Okay, so that sets the stage for Dibo. Now let's turn our attention to the unsung architect, the man behind much of this foundational influence, a critical yet largely forgotten figure in the annals of APBT history, S.W. Hubbard.
Right, Whiz Hubbard. Whiz. The author of our source material, Richard F. Stratton himself, admits to bearing some responsibility for this historical oversight, having candidly stated that he hadn't written nearly enough about Hubbard previously. But today, right here on the Deep Dive, we're going to try and rectify that historical imbalance.
Known intimately to his friends as Whiz, Hubbard was a profoundly central, albeit understated, figure in the vibrant world of dogmen. Stratton first encountered him in Phoenix, Arizona, just before Christmas in 1950.
Quite a specific memory.
Yeah, imagine the scene. A young, impressionable 19-year-old Stratton, then serving in the Army, taking a brief delay en route to his next assignment. He was hosted by I.D. Cole, a fellow dog enthusiast with whom Stratton had previously traded dogs.
Ah, so there was a prior connection.
Exactly. This personal connection, this youthful adventure, sets the perfect stage for a unique, almost cinematic glimpse into a bygone era of dog breeding and competition.
It truly paints such a vivid picture, doesn't it? Stratton was immediately and profoundly struck with the quality of the dogmen and their dogs in the Phoenix area. He wasn't just impressed by their sheer quantity, but by their consistently high caliber, observing a thriving, dynamic dog community. This wasn't just a few isolated individuals pursuing a niche hobby. It was a flourishing network of dedicated enthusiasts and truly exceptional animals.
And these weren't just anonymous figures, lost to history. Stratton masterfully paints a picture of distinct personalities and varied professions within this tight-knit community. I.D. Cole, Stratton's gracious host, was a railroad representative.
Okay, a railroad man.
His profession afforded him a flexible schedule and, notably, enough influence to even get Stratton paged over the public address system at the bustling train depot. A rare and impressive occurrence in those days, clearly indicating Cole's significant standing within his professional and social circles.
Wow, getting paged at the depot, that's something.
Right. Then there was Richardson, who owned and operated a local barbershop, providing a grounded, down-to-earth contrast to some of the other figures.
Or Darber, okay.
And Howard Heinzel, described as a young, quite good-looking veterinary assistant working at the racetrack. Stratton adds with a touch of humor that the girls all loved him.
Huh. Of course.
These small details give you a profound sense of the diverse backgrounds, the myriad professions, and the unique personalities that converged around this shared consuming passion for dogs. It underscores that the dog game wasn't confined to any single social stratum.
It sounds like a real community. But it was undoubtedly Hubbard who truly commanded attention, not just for the caliber of his dogs, but for his charismatic presence and his unique lifestyle.
Definitely. Stratton vividly recalls the striking impression of Hubbard's spectacular wife, noting Cole even felt compelled to issue a playful warning to Stratton not to drool ostentatiously.
Don't drool.
She was, by all accounts, exceptionally beautiful, what one might describe as drop-dead gorgeous.
And here's where it gets really interesting, a detail that adds layers to Hubbard's persona. Cole swore that Hubbard had an even more beautiful previous wife.
Even more beautiful. Wow.
This particular detail seemed quite strange, almost contradictory to the young Stratton, because Hubbard himself was openly described as not particularly handsome.
Okay, so not a looker himself, apparently.
But this apparent contradiction highlights Hubbard's inherent non-physical qualities. He was profoundly smart and articulate, possessing a sharp mind and clear communication skills. Furthermore, he owned and successfully operated a quite successful nightclub.
Ah, the nightclub owner. That makes sense. Charisma.
Exactly. His immense influence, therefore, clearly didn't emanate from his physical attractiveness, but rather from his intellect, his astute business acumen, his undeniable charisma, and above all, his unwavering passion and deep understanding of dogs. It reveals a man whose power lay in his mind and his presence, rather than superficialities.
Indeed. Hubbard's true greatness as an influential figure stemmed from his remarkably shrewd and proactive practice of acquiring some great dogs from wherever they might be found, irrespective of their original location or previous owners.
So he wasn't breeding his own line exclusively, he was buying in.
Precisely. He wasn't tied to any particular kennel or breeder, unlike, say, figures like Corvino, who often focused on developing their own distinct lines. Hubbard's philosophy was simple. He just went for the good dogs. This pragmatic, quality-first, and almost curatorial approach allowed him to rapidly amass an exceptional collection of canine talent, drawing from the best bloodlines available at the time.
You can clearly see this strategic approach reflected in the illustrative examples of the dogs he acquired. He brought in Dibo's own grandsire, a formidable dog named Gimp.
Gimp, yeah. Direct link there.
Directly connecting him to what would become Dibo's future legendary lineage. He also acquired Corvino's Braddock, a dog universally highlighted in the sources as one of the great all-time dogs in the pit game.
Braddock's a huge name, so Hubbard got him.
Apparently so. This wasn't just about accumulating animals, it was about strategically curating top-tier genetics that would elevate his entire yard.
And then there was Big Boy, another prime example of Hubbard's discerning eye. This dog was purchased from Bert Klaus, a well-known figure.
Oh, Klaus, okay.
Stratton himself had even encountered Big Boy's sire, Keto, back in Colorado, reinforcing the breadth and depth of Hubbard's connections and his profound knowledge of the broader dog landscape across the country.
He really knew his stuff, networked everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Big Boy himself went on to win a number of challenging matches, including what was widely considered his toughest match against Wallace's Pistol Pete, a victory that unequivocally cemented Big Boy's status as one of the top dogs in the country. These acquisitions demonstrate Hubbard's incredible foresight and his uncanny ability to identify dogs that would become not just champions, but true legends.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, for me anyway, and truly illuminates Hubbard's pioneering and remarkably forward-thinking approach to canine care.
Go on.
He had a unique practice that was virtually unheard of at the time. He would bring a veterinarian to matches in which he had a dog.
A vet at the matches.
Yes. This wasn't really a casual arrangement. It was a deliberate, consistent part of his protocol for his dog's well-being.
Wow. That is forward thinking for the 50s. What's truly fascinating here, and speaks volumes about Hubbard's character and his philosophy, is that the veterinarian services weren't exclusive to his own dogs.
Ah, that's the kicker.
Right. The source explicitly states that the vet would help other dogmen tend to their charges after matches. This singular altruistic fact, this commitment to the collective good, put the Arizona gang ahead of the rest of the country in regard to doctoring dogs after a match.
So he was lifting the whole community up, basically.
Absolutely. What this reveals about Hubbard's character is immense. It demonstrates remarkable foresight, a dedication to the welfare of all the animals involved in the sport that was truly ahead of its time, and a profound sense of community spirit.
Yeah.
He understood that investing in the overall health and well-being of the dogs, regardless of ownership, would ultimately elevate the entire dog game, making it more sustainable, more reputable, and fostering a stronger sense of shared responsibility. This level of care, both for his own animals and for the wider community, was truly revolutionary for the era.
It truly speaks volumes about the kind of person he was. He wasn't just about personal victories or individual gains. He was deeply committed to the integrity of the sport, and crucially, to the welfare of the animals involved. This expansive level of dedication even extended to his direct and indirect links to Dibo, shaping the very genetic foundation of the legendary dog. If we delve into Dibo's pedigree, we'll unequivocally notice a lot of Hubbard dogs on his damn side, which represents a direct and significant genetic contribution from Hubbard's carefully curated lines.
Right, so his influence is right there in the blood. And, perhaps most crucially, Hubbard also owned Bouncer, who was Dibo's sire, a name sometimes misspelled as Bounce.
Bouncer, okay, the sire.
Stratton even had the unique opportunity to see Bouncer rolled at Heinzel's pit during one of their weekend get-togethers.
Okay, so what's rolled mean exactly?
Right, for those unfamiliar with the terminology, rolling in this context refers to a supervised, controlled sparring session between two dogs. These sessions were designed specifically to evaluate a dog's natural abilities, its gameness, its style, and its spirit, all without the intent of causing serious harm.
Got it. A test run, sort of?
Exactly. Stratton describes Bouncer as a quality dog, possessing admirable traits, but notably he clarifies that Bouncer was not an ace, meaning he wasn't necessarily a champion in his own right.
Interesting. So not a top dog himself, but sired the top producer.
Precisely. This detail provides further fascinating insight into the surprising and somewhat unpredictable genetic mix that ultimately produced the legendary Dibo.
The main point here is crystal clear, and it's one that enthusiasts of APBT history will truly appreciate. The Arizona dogs were of unusually good caliber, and so were the Dogmen.
That seems evident.
And central to this elevation was S.W. Hubbard, who was a major influence in both those respects. He wasn't just a participant, he was the quiet, strategic force, adeptly pooling incredible canine talent and simultaneously elevating the standards of care, integrity, and competition across the entire region. His profound impact was felt far and wide, fundamentally reshaping the breed's development, even if his name didn't always receive the prominent credit it so richly deserved.
A real unsung hero of the breed, then.
Absolutely. Diving deeper into the fascinating world of the Dogman and Hubbard's unique place within it, one of Richard Stratton's amusing memories provides such a vibrant, almost cinematic glimpse into the culture of the era.
Okay, let's hear it.
He recounts first meeting Hubbard at his very classy establishment, a nightclub, during the middle of the day. Uncharacteristically, Hubbard was behind the bar, tending to a quiet afternoon crowd, a setting quite different from the pits and kennels.
A nightclub owner tending bar. Okay. It's a great setup for an anecdote that profoundly highlights the prevailing societal context of the time. While Hubbard, Cole, and Stratton were engaged in a deep conversation about dogs, a seemingly oblivious customer approached the bar and innocently asked, "Do you raise greyhounds, Mr. Hubbard?"
Greyhounds. Oh boy.
Well, as you can well imagine, Cole and Stratton couldn't resist laughing out loud, their laughter echoing slightly in the quiet club, while the customer looked utterly befuddled, completely unaware of the humorous gaffe.
I can just picture it. Cole, ever the diplomat, stepped in to explain, calmly clarifying to the confused customer. The reason what you said was funny is that greyhounds are supposed to run, and the kind of dogs that Mr. Hubbard raises aren't supposed to do that.
Understatement of the year, maybe.
Right. It's such a simple yet incredibly powerful explanation that encapsulates a profound truth about the era. So what does this tell us about that period? It truly was a completely different time, an almost insulated world, when the general public knew nothing about bulldogs or pit bulls, to the extent that they didn't even know they existed. The breed operated largely outside of mainstream awareness.
This point is so critically important for understanding the historical narrative. The source posits these as better times for the dogs and the people, and this invites us to consider what better might genuinely imply in this specific context.
Yeah, what does better mean there?
Perhaps it means less pervasive public scrutiny, a different regulatory environment that allowed for more autonomy in breeding and competition, and a community where the focus was purely on the dogs and the sport itself, unburdened by the modern-day controversies, legal battles, and widespread misconceptions that plague the breed today.
Right, none of the baggage we see now.
It was a world, as the anecdote so vividly shows, where the dogs themselves were practically invisible to the mainstream, allowing for certain purity of focus on the activity itself.
That's a truly fascinating interpretation, and it really highlights the dramatic shift in public perception over the decades. Beyond the humor and the strategic acumen, Hubbard was also known as a truly gracious host, fostering a strong sense of community. He threw an early Christmas party that very night, primarily for dogmen and their families, creating an atmosphere of camaraderie, shared passion, and mutual respect.
Sounds like a good time. And this camaraderie was often expressed through playful, good-natured banter. Stratton vividly recounts Howard Heinzel's late arrival at the party.
The good-looking vet assistant.
That's the one. His late arrival prompted Hubbard to jovially declare, "I'm getting out my shotgun because I know Heinzel's after either my wife or one of my dogs."
Ah, that's great.
This brought general laughter from the assembled guests, given Heinzel's well-known reputation as a charming ladies' man, and of course, the supreme desirability and prestige of both Hubbard's beautiful wife and his highly prized collection of top-tier dogs. It beautifully illustrates a lighthearted, trusting, and genuinely affectionate atmosphere among these dedicated individuals.
What genuinely struck Stratton, beyond the specific interactions, was the affability of Hubbard in particular and of most of the dogmen there in general.
So it wasn't all deadly serious competition.
Apparently not. This wasn't merely about intense competition. It was profoundly about genuine human connection, shared passion, and a deep-seated respect for one another. We even see this underlying empathy emerge in a poignant moment, Stratton recalls. Richardson was observed consoling Leo White after one of White's cherished dogs stopped.
Stopped, meaning it quit during a roll.
Exactly, meaning it quit or pulled up short during a roll.
That scene truly highlights the immense emotional toll of the pit dog game, especially for dedicated dogmen with small kennels or yards. For these individuals, their dogs were often much more than just animals. They were an extension of their identity, a source of profound hope, and the culmination of countless hours of investment, of time, effort, and financial resources.
Yeah, you pour your heart into it.
To have such high hopes for a dog, to have invested so much, only for it to pull up short during a crucial evaluation, to quit, was an incredibly painful and deeply personal experience. It wasn't just a casual hobby. For many, it was a defining aspect of their lives, and this moment truly humanizes the intensity and the emotional stakes within this world.
And it was precisely in this deeply personal and often emotionally charged context that Hubbard's wisdom, his foresight, and his profound respect truly shone through.
Okay.
Stratton shares the story of an aging dog named Spike, who, incidentally, was Dibo's dam sire, meaning Dibo's maternal grandfather.
Spike. Okay, Dibo's grandpa.
Who was clearly past his prime, but was still, somewhat ill-advisedly, being rolled by his owner simply because the dog still enjoyed it.
Uh-oh. Rolling an old dog sounds risky.
Right. In a diplomatic, yet remarkably firm and unequivocal way, Hubbard intervened. He told the guys that they needed to stop rolling the old dog. Their immediate protest, delivered with genuine affection for the animal, was, "But he still likes it."
Yeah, you can hear them saying that. But Hubbard knew better, I bet.
Exactly. This was met with Hubbard's clear, reasoned, and compassionate wisdom. Old dogs are more easily injured, and it is more difficult for them to heal up. This wasn't about sentimentality alone. It was about responsible animal husbandry, about practical, ethical care for the animal, even within a competitive context that might seem harsh to modern sensibilities. It showcased a deep understanding of canine physiology and a commitment to their well-being.
He sounds like a genuinely principled guy, even within that tough world.
And the key takeaway here, the lasting impression, is the immense, almost unparalleled respect Hubbard commanded. He was so respected enough that the guys acquiesced and they retired the dog from rolls immediately.
Just like that.
On his word.
Just like that. This wasn't a command issued by an authority figure. It was wisdom spoken by a revered peer, a man whose judgment was trusted implicitly and was accepted without question. That speaks volumes about his character and influence.
It absolutely reiterates that Hubbard was a much respected man, a foundational and great influence on the dog game. He was responsible for the upgrading of dogs because he concentrated so many good dogs at his place, effectively acting as a central hub, a magnetic force for top-tier genetics and talent.
A curator of quality.
Exactly. And crucially, as we've discussed in detail, he was even responsible for Dibo in an indirect way, through his ownership of Dibo's sire and the concentration of quality dogs in his line. His presence, his principles, and his unwavering commitment truly elevated the entire Arizona dog scene, leaving an indelible mark on the breed's history. All right, now let's get to what might be the most surprising and, for many, the most revelatory aspect of this deep dive. The true, often obscured lineage of Dibo and the enduring misconception that surrounded his breeding for decades.
Okay, the plot thickens.
For some reason, after Dibo and his offspring became legendary, there was a widespread and persistent belief that Howard Heinzel and Richardson had personally bred Dibo. This became common opinion, almost an accepted truth, despite the actual facts.
Huh. So people just assumed it was them. This raises a truly important question, a point that speaks volumes about character. Why didn't Heinzel claim credit? He certainly could have.
Right, it would have been huge for him.
Howard could have easily taken credit for breeding the legendary Dibo, especially after Hubbard's death, when few people knew the true story. The prestige, the recognition, the monetary gain would have been immense. However, Howard Heinzel was a man of immense integrity and an unwavering commitment to accuracy.
Like we saw with him telling Tudor the whole story.
Exactly. He took particular pride in getting pedigrees right, regardless of whose they were or what personal glory might be involved. This unwavering dedication to historical and genetic truth speaks volumes about his character and his profound commitment to the integrity of the dog world.
That's truly incredible integrity, especially when you consider the immense prestige and financial rewards that would have accompanied claiming Dibo as one's own breeding. But the true story of Bambi's unexpected journey to motherhood is even more fascinating and circuitous.
Bambi again, the cold bitch.
Yep. Heinzel had initially been disgusted with Bambi because she was completely cold, meaning she utterly lacked gameness, that essential, tenacious fighting spirit expected of a top-tier pit dog.
Yeah.
Her perceived deficiency was so profound that Heinzel simply sold her, wanting nothing more to do with her.
Just got rid of her. And this is where the unsung breeder, a truly forgotten figure, enters the narrative. Heinzel sold Bambi to a young African-American fancier.
Okay, so not Heinzel or Richardson at all.
Not at all. This fancier, in turn, recognizing the potential in Bambi's pedigree, despite her cold disposition, took her to Hubbard's place to breed to Bouncer, who, as we now know, was Dibo's sire.
Ah, so he made the connection to Hubbard's dog.
Correct. After the litter was born, the fancier, likely due to space or financial constraints, could only keep a few of the pups, so he decided to sell some of the male offspring, including the one who would eventually become the legendary Dibo. The lineage, therefore, passes through multiple unexpected hands and takes several surprising turns before reaching its destined fame.
Wow. The story of Dibo's surprising early life and his eventual naming is truly filled with remarkable irony. The young boy who acquired the pup that would become Dibo actually had a completely different canine dream. He desperately wanted a collie.
A collie. Seriously, like Lassie.
Exactly like Lassie. Can you imagine the future legend of the American Pit Bull Terrier being nearly overlooked for a collie? This boy was deeply influenced by the wildly popular Lassie movies and television series of the time, which had captivated the nation. This detail is wonderfully ironic, setting up the pivotal and almost unbelievable trade that would, unbeknownst to them, irrevocably shape breed history.
It's truly remarkable, isn't it? Seeing the intrinsic potential in the scruffy pup, Heinzel, always with a keen eye for confirmation and lineage, liked the looks and breeding of the young Dibo.
Even though he'd sold the mother.
Apparently so. He saw something in the pup. So in one of the most pivotal and perhaps understated trades in all of canine history, Heinzel got a collie out of the pound and traded it to the boy for Dibo.
Get out of here. He traded a pound collie for Dibo.
That's the story. Here's where it gets really interesting, almost unbelievable. Imagine, if you will, the sheer audacity and foresight of trading a future legend, a foundational patriarch of an entire breed, for a humble pound dog. It perfectly underscores how a discerning eye and a touch of intuition can completely change the course of history, defying all conventional expectations.
That is absolutely wild. And even the name itself has a rather humble, almost accidental origin story. The boy had originally nicknamed the pup Dumbo.
Dumbo. Like the elephant?
Maybe playfully referencing his large, floppy puppy ears. But after the breeder performed the common practice of trimming his ears, somehow the dog ended up being registered as Dibo.
From Dumbo to Dibo. Huh.
It's almost as if fate was gently nudging him towards his legendary status, even through a subtle, almost whimsical name change that moved him away from a perceived flaw to a strong, iconic moniker.
Now, perhaps the ultimate and most compelling confirmation of Dibo's inherent, almost mystical quality comes from an unlikely but supremely respected source. Earl Tudor.
Okay, the legend himself.
Yay, the legend himself. A legendary figure in his own right, within the dog game. Dibo, despite his future reputation for ferocity, was such an easygoing dog in his youth that Howard Heinzel normally had him running around loose in his yard.
Loose, a future pit champ.
Yeah, which was unusual. This is a common practice for many pet dogs. But in the serious world of pit dogs, a high-caliber animal was almost always securely chained or kenneled. Howard confessed to Stratton that he only bothered to chain Dibo up when Earl Tudor came to visit, purely out of embarrassment at having such a relaxed, seemingly casual, loose dog representing his yard to such an esteemed expert.
Didn't want Tudor to see him slacking off.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But then during his visit, Howard extended the ultimate honor to Tudor. He offered him his pick of the yard.
Wow, pick of the whole yard, that's huge.
A truly significant gesture. An invitation for Tudor to select any dog he desired from Heinzel's entire collection, effectively choosing what he believed to be the finest prospect. And Tudor's shocking, almost unbelievable selection. Earl Tudor picked Dibo.
No way. He picked a loose dog, the one from the cold mother.
He picked Dibo. Howard, who had already considered Dibo a flawed dog due to his mother's coldness, was utterly chagrined. He didn't want that cold dog representing his dogs to Earl, especially as Tudor's prized selection. So, in a moment of genuine integrity and perhaps a touch of mortification, Howard told him the entire story of Dibo's origins, including the unexpected breeding and Bambi being a cold bitch.
Laid it all out there. What did Tudor say?
Yet, despite hearing the full, somewhat embarrassing truth. Despite knowing all the perceived genetic flaws and unconventional origins, Dibo remained Earl's pick.
He stuck with him.
He stuck with him. The author, Stratton, openly confesses that if Tudor had that kind of an eye for dogs, it must have been part of the secret of his success with them. This powerful anecdote truly highlights Tudor's incredible, almost prophetic judgment and his unique ability to see potential, to recognize innate quality far beyond immediate appearance, perceived flaws in a dog's lineage, or even conventional wisdom.
Man, Tudor had the eye.
It seems so. It was a profound validation of Dibo's inherent greatness, recognized by one of the absolute masters of the dog game.
The rest, of course, as they say, is history. Dibo went on to become the legendary producer, the unparalleled genetic foundation, whose influence we've discussed today. But the core, powerful main point of Stratton's source material and our purpose in this deep dive is that somehow Hubbard's role in it was left out of the popular narrative.
Forgotten again.
Forgotten again. Stratton's purpose in meticulously writing this personal account was precisely to remedy that to some degree, to bring his forgotten influence back into the spotlight.
And here's the deepest, most poignant irony, the truly forgotten figure in this entire saga. The man who actually bred Dibo, known only by his last name Smith, as Heinzel sparingly told Stratton, is completely forgotten by history.
Smith, the young African-American fancier, gone.
Completely gone. His pivotal role, the very act of breeding the legendary dog, has vanished into the myths of time. So what stands out to you, our listener, from this incredible tale? How do these profound historical omissions happen?
Yeah, how do they happen?
What complex interplay of oral history, selective memory, lack of documentation, and the desire to simplify narratives leads to certain figures being elevated while others, equally crucial, simply disappear? And what valuable lessons can we learn about the narratives we accept, about the importance of critical inquiry, and about seeking out the full, often complex truth behind influential figures and monumental events? The answer, as this deep dive shows, often lies in the overlooked details.
It really does. We've journeyed deep into the intricate history of the American Pit Bull Terrier, uncovering the true, multifaceted story behind Dibo, a dog whose powerful blood flows through the veins of nearly every modern APBT. And in doing so, we've shed much-needed light on S.W. Hubbard, the visionary dogman whose profound influence on the breed's development has, for far too long, been unjustly overlooked.
We've seen how genetics can surprise us with unpredictable brilliance, how integrity can genuinely prevail even when immediate credit is due elsewhere, and how the social dynamics of a passionate, tight-knit community can quietly but profoundly shape history. This deep dive profoundly reveals that history is rarely linear or easily remembered. Sometimes the most significant contributions come from the most unexpected places and from individuals who operate outside the traditional spotlight, quietly, diligently shaping the future for generations to come.
Hubbard's story is a powerful reminder that even indirect influence, a subtle yet strategic hand, can be monumental. It tells us that passion, foresight, a commitment to elevating standards, and a touch of quiet wisdom can truly leave an indelible, lasting mark on the world.
Well said.
As you go about your day, consider the stories you've heard and the information you consume. How many other Hubbards are out there whose pivotal roles in various fields, whether in science, art, business, or community building, remain unsung, unrecognized, or simply forgotten?
What small, seemingly insignificant, overlooked details might hold the key to a much richer, more nuanced understanding of the world around us and the forces that truly shape it? The deep dive never truly ends.
No, it doesn't. And for those of you who wish to delve even deeper into the rich, complex history of the American Pit Bull Terrier, to explore more fascinating facts and uncover additional insights into this incredible, enduring breed, remember to visit apbtinfo.com.
That's apbtinfo.com.
Definitely check it out if this history fascinates you. It's a treasure trove of knowledge for enthusiasts and curious learners alike, and a fantastic resource to continue your own deep dive.
Thank you for joining us on this enlightening deep dive into the fascinating history of Dibo and the truly influential S.W. Hubbard.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We sincerely hope this exploration has given you new perspectives, sparked new questions, and fostered an even richer appreciation for the intricate tapestry of canine history.